Right, welcome back, everyone. Wow, we're in week 8 already. So we basically we have 3 weeks and then final, and that's it. So with week 7, we completed our exam 3. So you'll get a chance to take a look at your exam at recitation this week. And then, take a look and make sure you understand why you may have missed a question and, why your answer was wrong, but a different answer was the correct answer and so forth. So again, we're building up to this final exam that will be cumulative. So we want to make sure that we're understanding our mistakes so that we can do well on the final. So this week we are going to continue with our genetics. So last week we looked at mitosis and meiosis in the cell cycle. So hopefully you had a chance to understand, oops, why am I week 9? Understand, exactly what's happening to the chromosomes during mitosis versus meiosis. And also, what are the sister chromatids? What are those versus chromosomes? And why do gametes have half as much genetic information that our regular typical body cell has? So, that was based on cell division and all of that. This week, we're going to actually apply that understanding into genetics. Okay, so understanding why we have why we look the way that we do. We came from our parents, but if you have siblings, you'll notice that your sibling, even though they have the same genetics as you, they came from the same genetic parents as you, they look different than you. Okay, I mean, there's some similarities because you're related, but why do you have a different eye color than your sibling or something like that? So that has to do with genetics. So we're going to understand why there is a difference. So we're in chapter 11 and 12 this week. So the first chapter is on Mendelian inheritance patterns. So it's understanding the basics of inheritance. And then we'll get into chapter 12, which is more based on humans and some of our strange inheritance patterns and some other stuff. So as always, start with the overview and make sure that you're understanding as you go through the reading this week, what is Mendel's theory of segregation, what's the theory of independent assortment, all of these different objectives. Okay. We have 2 chapters this week, just like last week, but they're both very similarly related. So that's why they're both of them. So with our Campbell's Biology in Focus textbook, we'll be completing chapters 11 and 12, whereas in the OpenStax, it's 12 and 13. So just note the difference there. We have our study guides for chapters 11 and 12. Lots of terminology this week, so make sure you're understanding that. And then we have lots of practice problems with the inheritance patterns. Okay. So this is a good thing to work on. Make sure you're understanding, how to do a Punnett square and so forth. We have our videos, like always, from the textbook, as well as the instructor videos that I created. So with the instructor videos, there's a lot of them because particularly these 2 chapters, students either get it right away or it's very confusing for other students. So depending on you, you might be able to skim through these and understand it right away, or you might be one that's like, I really don't understand this inheritance stuff. So pay close attention if you're one of those and watch the videos maybe multiple times. We also have additional videos. Again, Crash Course Biology is a good tool to use, as well as the Amoeba Sisters videos. So use those to help you visualize the information in a more fun way. And then, as always, we have our chapter problems. So I have chapter problems for chapter 11 as well as chapter 12. Okay. And then once you have completed everything and you're ready to go, we have our homework assignments. So depending on the time that we have available in recitation this week, we may or may not have time to work through the inheritance problems. So I might do a couple of them for you, and then you'll have to do the rest on your own, or maybe I'll just do the multiple choice, something like that. But we'll go through, hopefully have time to go through at least some of these homework problems together. So that's due on Sunday, just like normal. And then of course you have your quiz. Okay, so the quiz, just like always, it's multiple choice and you get to complete that and get your grade from that. All right, so that's the lecture material for this week. And so if we take a look at the lab material, we're going to actually piggyback off of what we talked about last week with mitosis and meiosis. So in this lab, we're going to focus in on understanding what each stage looks like under a microscope. So we'll understand, what the different stages of mitosis are, and identify those under the microscope for both plants and animals. We'll also take a closer look at meiosis and play around with the different chromosomes and sister chromatids and all that fun stuff with some beads that make it a little bit easier to visualize. So all of that we will do in lab this week. So again, if you're not really familiar, if you were confused about chapters 9 and 10, we'll visualize it for you in lab number 8. So we'll go through that in lab. Here is all of that information. And then of course, those lab review questions, they can come in handy when you're trying to prepare for the lab quiz. All right. Let's see, I'm going to go back into the lab because last week I briefly went over the signature assignment. So you should be working your way through the signature assignment. Excuse me, it's right here. It's not due until June 4th, so that's the following Sunday, the end of week 9. But you should have all of the information you need to do this. Also in lab this week, I will talk to you about the skills test. So the skills test is a microscope test that all students in Bio 112 need to do in order for you to move on to your anatomy, physiology, microbiology lab courses in the future. Because they will, the first day of those labs, the instructor will have expected you to, understand how to set up a microscope, how to focus on a slide, how to put the microscope away properly, how to figure out the size of a structure on the slide and so forth. So these will be quizzed. Each individual student will have a quiz with me with a microscope. We'll do in week 9 and 10. So usually I start it in week 8, but because our class is getting smaller and smaller, we'll go ahead and do it in week 9 and 10 instead. So half of you will go in week 9, half of you will go in week 10. And this is exactly what I'm measuring in your skills test. Can you identify the different parts of the microscope? So if I point to a structure on the microscope, can you identify it? Can you show me how you set up a microscope properly? Can you focus on a specimen properly? Can you figure out the field of view and the size of the object that I asked you to measure? Can you put away the microscope properly? Okay, so this is exactly what you get quizzed on. It's 20 points. So it is, 2 post labs. So it is, it's a significant amount. So you want to pay close attention this week while you're doing your mitosis slides with your microscope, that you are making sure that you're doing everything properly so that you do really well on the skills test. Okay. Anything else you have questions on, feel free to reach out. Otherwise, I will see you on Thursday.